Good morning, class. This morning we are going to discuss Title 10, and Title 10 deals with appraisal rights. Now, simply stated, appraisal right is the right of the stockholder which, upon dissent on major decisions done by the board, surrenders his share and demands for the fair market value of his share. Now, Section 80 enumerates as to when can appraisal rights be exercised. So let us read. Section 80, when the right of appraisal may be exercised. Any stockholder of a corporation shall have the right to dissent and demand the payment of the fair market value of his shares in the following instances. Letter A. In case of amendment of the Articles of Incorporation that has effect on the changing or restricting the rights of any stockholders of a class of share or of authorizing preferences in any respect superior to those of the outstanding shares of any class, or of extending or shortening the term of the corporation's corporate existence. Now, instances where a stockholder may exercise his appraisal right, in case of amendment of the Articles of Incorporation in the following cases: shortening or lengthening the life of the corporation, granting or limiting the privileges given to a certain class of stockholders. So that is letter A. Letter B. In case of sale, lease, exchange, transfer, mortgage, pledge, and other disposition of all or substantially all of the assets of the corporation. That is the second instance where the stockholder can exercise his appraisal right. Letter C, in case of merger and consolidation. We have studied this in a previous chapter, what is merger and what is consolidation. And letter D, in case of investment of a corporate fund for any purpose other than the primary purpose of the corporation. So those are the instances where the stockholder can exercise his appraisal right. Okay? How is the right exercise? Written demand. Now, there should be a written demand that is covered by Section 81. There should be a written demand given or forwarded to the board within 30 days from the date on which the vote was taken. So, written demand, and it should be forwarded within 30 days from the date it was taken. As to the procedure, you just read Section 81, no? Nandito yung procedure, kung kailan ibibigay yung share, kailan ibibigay yung notice, at saka kailan ibibigay ang share. Section 81. Okay? Very important. Who bears the cost for appraisal? No? Sometimes hindi magkasinabot, no? They will not agree. No? They could not agree as to the fair market value of the share. So who bears the cost of appraisal? The cost and expenses of appraisal shall be borne by the corporation unless the fair market value ascertained by the appraiser is approximately the same in the price which the corporation may have offered to pay the stockholder, in which case they shall be borne by the latter. In case of action to recover such fair market value, all costs and expenses shall be assessed against the corporation unless the refusal of the stockholders to receive payment is unjustified. Ganito kasi yan, class, no? The stockholder surrenders his share and demands for the payment of the fair market value of his share. The corporation says, this is the value of your share. The stockholder disagrees, no? So ano ang gagawin nila? They will forward the issue to an appraiser. Okay? The stockholder will nominate one appraiser, the corporation will nominate one appraiser, then another independent appraiser, parang arbiter siya. So there will be 3 appraisers. So if the corporation would say that the value of your share is 10,000 per share, the stockholder does not agree, no? Then it will be forwarded to the appraiser, to the group of appraisers. Now, after the examination of the appraiser, if it will turn out that the value of the share is 10,000, then the cost will be borne by the stockholder. Pero kung hindi nila finorward sa appraiser yan siya, the cost of the appraisal right is shouldered by the corporation. So again, when corporation offers 10,000, 10,000 for your shares of stocks, and you agree, walang dispute, then the corporation will bear the loss. However, if you disagree and the same is referred to the appraiser, if the value is almost the same with 10,000, then the stockholder shoulders the cost. However, if the value is 15,000 or somewhat higher, very much higher than the initial offer of the corporation, then in that case, the cost will still be shouldered by the corporation. So that is appraisal right. Now, that is who bears the cost in appraisal right. Now, this brings us to the concept of trust fund doctrine. By the way, class, you could not surrender your share and demand for the fair market value of your share if there is no unrestricted retained earnings. You take note of that. No? You can demand only for the fair market value of your share, and you could surrender your share if there is an unrestricted retained earnings, and this is in consonance with the principle with the trust fund doctrine. So what is the trust fund doctrine? The trust fund doctrine backstop the requirement of unrestricted retained earnings to fund the payment of shares of stocks of withdrawing stockholders. Under the doctrine, the capital, stock, property, and other assets of the corporation are regarded as equity in trust for the payment of corporate creditors of corporate creditors who are preferred in the distribution of corporate assets. So under the trust fund doctrine, the fund of the corporation is really intended for payment of creditors. It was just laid in trust to the corporation for the payment of its creditor. Therefore, it is not really reserved for stockholders. No? Therefore, when stockholders surrender their share, there is a necessity that there should be an unrestricted retained earnings. Again, what is this trust fund doctrine? Trust fund doctrine emphasizes that the corporate assets are reserved for corporate creditors, and these are not reserved for stockholders. The stockholders can surrender their shares only and demand for the fair market value of their share if there is an unrestricted retained earnings. Okay, so that is for appraisal right, and that is title 10. Na? Next video, we will proceed with the next title. I think title 11 or title 11 or title 12. No? We will skip one title reading class kay hindi siya kasama sa natin sa discussion natin. Okay, have a good day, class.